Hi friends, and welcome to Fables and Legends. Today we're starting our cooking journey adventure through the Elder Scrolls universe. So today we're going to be making banana bread and chicken and biscuits. So something we do here is we find our favorite video game or fantasy realm and we try to make those foods to become a reality. So let me switch my screens around and then we will get jumping on chicken and biscuits. Okay then, so what we're going to do is we're going to get our pan all heated up over here, and then we're going to get the chicken into the pan. So we're going to get a nice hot pan going. Let me get the chicken out of the fridge. So I've got 2 chicken breasts here for our recipe. And 2 chicken breasts. Then we're gonna get them in the pan, and then we're gonna get them all nice and cooked up, and then we're gonna just let them rest and cool to make them easier to handle later while we're trying to cook some other things. So let's get this oil nice and hot. In the pan right now, I've got some cloves of garlic, some thyme, and some coconut oil greasing the pan. So let me get some tongs out. And we'll get that nice and hot here in a second. Get those out of the way. So when cooking the chicken, to get it cooked kind of on the evenly side, I'm going to heat down just a little bit. What you want to do is get them pounded pretty thin, about to the same thickness. So they can kind of cook more evenly. So you don't have like really burnt / raw chicken. So what we're also going to do is wait till the chicken is actually cooked all the way on the side, being white. It should start releasing itself from the pan, and then when it does, we're going to flip it over and then cook it for roughly 6 minutes. So it's going. So I'm going to get rid of the now. So with the chicken and biscuits, we've got a bunch of stuff that's going to go into that, a bunch of yummy stuff, and then the banana bread's going to be really delicious too. So we're using a bunch of spices that can come from the game / be manipulated to work for what we're trying to get it to do. So we've got chicken going right now with garlic and thyme. So yay! Now, the good part with this recipe is that if the chicken's not fully cooked, you don't want it raw. But if it's just needs a little more, that's okay if you want to start cutting it then, because then it's going to finish off cooking into the oven. What you don't want to do is overcook the chicken, and then you're going to have like dried chicken and this awesome stuff of goodness here. So I know I put a little too much coconut oil in that one, but I didn't want it to stick. So with the garlic and thyme that's already in here, it's going to help infuse a lot more flavors into the chicken. You could also use like rosemary or parsley or any like spice that you like using, but we're going to try to keep it very rustic for this recipe. popping off. And our chicken is slightly browning, so that's good. Now we just gotta wait about 6 minutes. I have this weird thing if I don't like my garlic burning, so I tend to flip it around. Oil all over the pan. And like I said, if it doesn't quite cook all the way through, it's okay. You just don't want it to be raw when you pull it off the pan. Gonna take a quick hydration break. So yeah. Like I've been getting back into Skyrim again, so I've downloaded a bunch of mods, so I've not been playing Skyrim, for lack of better words. So yeah, it's been a little fun over there. I'm gonna start another playthrough soon. Don't know what I want to do yet. So, we'll see how that's gonna go there. So, with that, we've got a couple more minutes on the chicken. This is the slow part, right? So yeah, it's gonna be a nice hearty meal. So then we're gonna be getting this chicken cooked, and then we're gonna start working on the banana bread. I want to kind of pace myself on switching out recipes in a good way. The biggest thing I want to do is get the chicken cooled down, so it's way more easier to cut. So when we have to start making everything, I can just go instead of like, oh my gosh, I'm dealing with hot chicken and then trying to balance things. So I'm going to get the chicken cooking first, have it rest, get it cooled down, and then turn around and then jump into everything else. The banana bread takes longer to cook, so we're just going to get that in, and then we're just going to let that cook all the way through as well. So it's just going to take some time on this, and I just realized my recipe doesn't look quite right. Well, we'll find out. We're going to go on an adventure together to see why it might cook right. I don't know. Sometimes I don't trust when I write down how long it's going to take to cook something. So we got like 3 more minutes almost. So, yeah. So, they just, let's see. On the modding community, they just announced Sky Oblivion, so I'm kind of excited for that. So can't play it till 2025, so that's where we're at. So it's something to look forward to. So yeah, that came out, and then I know last year Beyond Skyrim put out a bunch of dates for a lot of places coming up, so I'm kind of excited to see where that's going. So yeah, Beyond Bruma is amazing, so I can't wait to see all the other Beyond stuff. So, yay! 2 more minutes on the chicken. So we'll see how all this is going here. Then we get to start making some desserts. Cool. So yeah, getting really excited to see how this food's going to turn out, and yeah. This is the boring part about cooking, waiting. about 1 more minute. I'm going to bring that close. So I got a separate cutting board that I'm going to put the chicken on so I don't cross-contaminate my cutting board or anything else, so it can just go and rest on this board. That'll be really, really nice that way. So about 6 minutes, so I'm going to give it about a minute on this side just because I didn't like it a little bit of brown, but it's got this nice brown texture coating to it. Well, it's just a little bit so you guys can see that a little better. So it's nice and brown, and that's the way we want to have it. So I'm just going to let the other side brown for just another minute or so, and then we'll be really good to go on that. Now we're just going to let it rest. And so, like I said, if it's just a little not cooked, that's okay. We just don't want it to be raw. Nice. Okay. And we're just going to go let the chicken rest over here. I'll be right back. So now, as the chicken is resting and we have a nice clean area, I'm going to wash my hands quickly, and then we're going to start processing the banana bread. Alrighty then, so we're going to need a whole bunch of stuff. So we are going to need 3 mashed bananas, a ½ cup of sugar, but we're going to use xylitol instead. It's one of our healthy options that we tend to switch to when we're dealing with our sweeteners. I'm going to need 2 eggs, but in this case I'm going to use 1 duck egg instead, and I'll explain why in a minute. A ½ cup of butter, 1 1/2 cups of flour, a teaspoon of baking soda, a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of vanilla extract, a teaspoon of cinnamon, and a teaspoon of cardamom. So we're going to get those liquids going first, and then we're going to make the liquids, make the solids, get them together. So, get my big old mixing bowl out, and we're going to do it by hand. My biggest encouragement for people wanting to start on their cooking journey is just to start cooking. The biggest thing you can do is be like, oh, I have to wait for this tool, or I can't do this. I'm guilty of that. Like, oh, I can't do this until I have this tool. So what I want to do is just encourage that even if you don't have a mixer and you don't have all these high-tech gadgets, you can make something really delicious doing it old school. So with this, we're going to get our liquids in first. So 3 mashed bananas, the egg, the ½ cup of butter we're going to use for our oil. You can use vegetable oil. I tend to like butter. Makes it a little more decadent. And then we're going to put the vanilla extract in it as well. So I need to melt my butter, so I need to get a small frying pan out. And we just want to get that butter melted. So there is some of our ingredients. So I'm going to get that butter. Ooh, it's nice and soft already, so just do that. I tend to sometimes cube it if it's not soft enough. Put it on low heat so it doesn't die or get burnt. Then I'm going to get the 1 duck egg out. Got 2 there. And then 3 bananas. Now, I tend to like these way more ripe, but this is where I'm at. They're not too bad, but not where I exactly want them to be at. So, we're going to chop them up a little bit, then mash them. Basically, the best bananas for banana bread are brown, falling apart, that ooey gooey mess. But these didn't spoil as fast as I wanted them to, so we'll just make do. This will be easier for them to mash as well. So we're just going to do that. Our butter is nicely melting. Don't run away. So I'm just going to start just a little bit of mashing here. And basically when you're mashing the bananas, you want to get it to like a custardy pudding consistency. And it's a little easier when the bananas are browned. That is a nice, you just basically want to make sure it's not solid. Anywhere. If it's a little chunky, it's okay, but you don't want it to be too chunky. So, get that. Then, our 1 duck egg. So, I always use duck eggs when I'm baking. It tends to make the dough fluffier and more rich, and just way more delicious. 2, if you have an egg sensitivity, it's usually to chicken eggs, and it tends to be the white of the chicken egg. So we're going to use just 1 duck egg instead of 2 eggs. So if you don't have access to duck eggs, there you go. That is our 1 egg there. Let me get my whisk out that I want to use. We're just going to kind of whisk that up just a little bit, trying to get it mixed. Hey, come on, butter. And our, you good? We have to get a teaspoon. And our teaspoon of vanilla extract. You also don't want your oil to be too hot when you pour it into the mixture, because you don't want to start cooking the egg either. It smells so good right now. Almost done. So we'll just turn around and pour this here in a minute, and then we will go from there. Okay. No more solids in our butter. Slowly pour that butter in. There we go. Then we're going to start portioning out our dry goods. So in our dry goods, we're going to have our half cup of sugar, or in this case, we're going to use xylitol. Be careful when you use xylitol. If you're not used to it, it may cause intestinal distress. So if you don't know what I mean by that, go look up Amazon, what was it, like the Amazon quote on Haribo gummy bears? Yeah, don't eat the whole pack of that either. So with that, we got our sugar in here, our sweetener. We have our spices. So we have our teaspoon of salt, teaspoon of baking soda, teaspoon of cinnamon, and teaspoon of cardamom. Give it a nice spicy flair with things. And then we will be adding our 1.5 cups of flour. We're going to sift that in. I've always just sifted my flour in. That's what I do. You could use gluten-free flour if you need to. In this case, I'm just going to keep it simple and cheap today. Just use some normal flour. Sifter. And we're going to do 1.5 cups. And this will make for like a silkier, to sift it in, it makes for like a silkier flour. It doesn't clump as much when you're mixing it then, or you're not trying to fight against the clumps. Let me go get my cup then. One of these days I'll be organized. Today is not that day. So I know I've cooked for gluten-free people before. Don't worry. I have a way different sifter with my gluten-free stuff, so you're not getting the same sifter being used here. So there we go. Get that whisked around a little bit. And at this point, I'm going to also preheat the oven to 350. I don't like preheating my oven right away because I'm a little slow sometimes, so I don't like having my oven on forever when I'm trying to get everything ready. So that we slowly add our flour in. You guys see that? I like using a whisk because it helps get air into the dough, and so it tends to help make it fluffier and a little lighter. There we go. The reason why this dough tends to be a little dark is because of a lot of the spices that went into it. So that'll tend to make it more brown in color, where if you took out the cinnamon and the cardamom, it'd be more of a white, yellow cake batter look. So, is that away? Then I'm going to get my 13 by 9 pan, and we're going to get that all going in there. So, I know a lot of people butter it and all that stuff. I don't know, because maybe the amount of butter that I've always put in my batter, I don't have to worry about as much sticking. So, it's kind of nice there. So I always pour from the center and just have it goop out. I'll get a spatula here in a second. Fight the urge to look at the whisk, Nicole, because there's egg on it. Also, I like giving the dough a little bit of time to rest before it goes into the oven too. So when I don't preheat it right away, it gives it that time just to figure out what it wants to do to itself. So. Really nicely. Best to get that down just a little bit. Okay. I'll just tap it just a little bit and then clean it up. So that went a little high there. And there we go. So once the oven's done preheating, we're going to pop this bad boy in for 20 minutes. That should do the trick. So we're almost there on that. Let me clean some stuff up, and then we're going to start working on the dough for the chicken and biscuits. So let's get rid of this. Okay. So we need another mixing bowl. And then with the chicken, it's like cooking 3 different parts. So you gotta make the chicken, then you gotta make the biscuit part of the dough, and then you've gotta make the base, the innards, whatever you want to call that. So in the biscuits, it's gonna be half a cup of butter, 2 cups of flour, 2 cups of like a wheat pastry flour, or like a whole wheat flour. I found a whole wheat pastry flour, so we're going to use that. We're going to need 2 tablespoons of baking powder, because apparently we need to send this into like the Skyrim space program like a giant with its club. We're also going to need a teaspoon of salt and pepper, 2 cups of whole milk, 6 tablespoons of Greek yogurt. I tend to use full fat. And then a teaspoon of honey, just to kind of help sweeten it a little bit, give it some different sweet savory combo going on there. So, I don't want to do this at the moment because I'm waiting for the preheat. Water break, Nicole. So Some of the stuff I have pre-measured. This time I don't have to melt the butter. We're gonna hand mix it in where it's cold, and it's gonna create this flakiness to it. So that's why we're gonna do that. Oven faster. So yeah. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make the dough, and then the base is gonna take a while because we're just gonna kind of keep building up onto it. So it's just going to be one thing and then another thing and then another thing, and then it's going to create this nice thick base. So, alrighty then. Let me get the tray over here of all the stuff we're going to need. That in the back, because I only need half of that, and the other half I won't need till later. So, okay, so we have a bunch of our spices all here, and then oven's almost ready to go. So, we're going to get all of our solids in first. So, I'll skip the flour for a second. Let's dump all of our spices in. This is our salt, pepper, and then our 2 tablespoons of baking powder. We're sending this to space. That's where that's going. It's gonna floof. Then in my big resin up here. Maybe I can do this fast enough. No, I can't. Oh, am I kidding? It's almost ready to get in the oven. So I'll put this in for 20 minutes. Get that going. Now I can totally focus on the thing at hand. So cut up my brand new bag of flour. Two. Well, that's fine. My measuring cup just broke. Two. So, 2 cups of the wheat flour, 2 cups of the white flour. A Slater that I have to clean up. And get my whisk out. Maybe I'll whisk again later. Then we're going to quickly just put them into little chunks here. And then we're going to hand mix this. This is going to be a little bit, because what we want to do is get the it all into this flaky of the everything's and go from there. I wasn't worried about sifting it this time because I knew we were going to be making a clumpy mess. So we're almost there on the flakiness of all the stuff. A couple more pieces of butter. I want a little bit smaller. So. Okay. Nice flaky mess. Take some more of this off my hands. And then we are going to, start mixing up a lot of the liquids here to make the dough. And then we're going to let the dough sit for a little bit because we do want it to, like, flip up and rise. So that's why we're going to do that here. So let's get the liquids going. The liquids are 2 cups of milk and some Greek yogurt and some honey. We're going to get that all mixed together, pour that in, mix the crap out of it, and go from there. So I already have the yogurt and honey pre-measured. There we go. Give it a little whisk for this. Okay. Yes, I talked to inanimate objects thinking that I'm going to actually, get them to do my bidding. And once this is all incorporated, we're going to move it into here, and then we're going to get that all mixed together, and then we will have a nice little and done. Oh, it smells really good. Give me a second. Let me get a heartier whisk. Might literally finish mixing this by hand because it's really thick. That's a good thing. And we got 11 minutes left on the banana bread, and that'll be nice and cool. Should be able to cut into it by the end. I'm going to finish mixing this by hand because it's just this awesome gooey mix of mess. Right now, we're also just trying to really work that gluten to get it nice and, you know, looking like this. Okay, there we go. We're gonna go put this over here and just let it rest. I'm going to go clean this disaster up here. And in about 9 minutes, the banana bread should be ready, but we're also gonna start working on those the base for the chicken and biscuits. So give me a minute to figure this out and enjoy the ambient music. Alrighty then, so let me clean up just a little bit because I feel that I lost you there for a second. Let me get y'all back adjusted because that was not cool that fell. How we looking? Okay, so we're right where we're supposed to be at on things. So this I don't need that. So, in a really big pot, we are going to need to do a lot of things. So the first thing we're going to need to do is put in 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Yeah, because we're going to have to get that all going and stuff. And I swore I grabbed a tablespoon and I didn't. So 2 tablespoons of olive oil into the pan. And then we're going to have to start just putting a bunch of stuff in a pot, not a pan. We're going to need to add a little more olive oil later, but that is a good start. And then we're going to be putting some onions and garlic and peppers in here. We're going to saute that, but right now we're just going to kind of mise en place everything. So we're going to cut up our onions, our peppers, and our mushrooms, and then we're going to get the garlic getting ready for pressing. Then we're going to saute and keep going from there. So that looks about right. Yes, that looks exactly about right. So I need to get my peppers out. So something I do is I do some food prep during the week, so we always need peppers. So I'm going to grab approximately the size of a bell pepper. I've already got them into strips. And what I like about doing this is I don't have to pick one pepper over the other. I can have a bunch of all of the peppers ready to go. So we would slice and dice these guys. And then we're going to get the onion going. A nice sized onion. I'll get everything sliced first and then I'll dice. Then we got a bunch of mushrooms, about 8 ounces of them to get all prepped and that's just so much faster. So these are the baby Bellas. Get them all. I'm slicing them about 1/4 of an inch thick. So everything's sliced. And then let me get some cloves of garlic. So the recipe calls for 3 cloves of garlic pressed. However, I tend to like garlic, so I kind of have this rule of thumb when I'm cooking garlic. So it's whatever the recipe calls for. So it's 3. And then it's for how many ever people are going to be eating this. So it'll be 3 more. That's my philosophy on garlic. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. And then, you know, I can maybe press these. Actually, let's not do that because that's perfect. I'll just put it in there. So we're gonna get the banana bread out, hopefully in like 30 seconds, as long as the toothpick goes in and it comes out clean, then we are good. So yeah. See the deliciousness in like 15 seconds. Okay, let's turn that timer off so it doesn't keep beeping at me. Ooh, that looks good. And it needs about 1 more minute. It didn't come out quite as clean as I would like it. So it needs about a minute. So let's watch I'll clock watch. Just press this and then we'll be. Okay. Got another toothpick to make sure. Okay, I just pulled a mean. That's where they went. There we go. It came out clean. So now we're just going to let it sit. Rest. So the chicken and biscuits calls for an oven of 400, so we're going to get that going now. To 400. And now I'm going to dice all these vegetables. My family and I don't like really eating mushrooms per se, so if it's hidden, we're fine. But if they're there, that's not going to happen. So we're going to get the peppers going. Then we're gonna get that oil heated up, and then we're gonna saute the onions and the peppers and the garlic. And then once they get cooking for a good couple minutes, so basically they go clear, then we're going to add the mushrooms, and we're going to cook that for about another 8 minutes. So why didn't you cut all the way through? Because I was being gentle. Let's get that garbage can on that. Onions on that. Then we can start sauteing. Get my garlic press. And less garlic. And while all this is now sauteing up, I'm going to get those mushrooms going so then they can start. I'm going to dice the mushrooms. I don't really like eating mushrooms this big, and no one in my family does, so that's the joy of cooking. You can actually, change things to your liking. that's almost all ready to go. So then once that's ready to go, then the mushrooms can go in. Nice and chopped. Now these mushrooms got to get cooked in for 8 minutes. Lower the heat slightly so nothing burns. And with this process, it's going to start getting a bunch of the water cooked out of the mushroom. So while we're waiting on that to keep going, we're going to start on getting all the other stuff ready. So we're going to get our flour ready, our milk ready, and then we're going to kind of get all that going. So now I'm going to need a half cup of flour and then 5 cups of milk. So once I get that going that way, we will keep going. Yay! So half a cup of flour. I knew I had something that I was going to use, and now there it is. So we're going to start 2 cups at a time with the milk because you're going to slowly pour that in. So we're not even going to get that ready till now. Also, we'll be adding these spices here in a couple minutes to get them cooked down and into it, all the ingredients. And then we're also going to throw a bunch of frozen veg in there too to make it a really nice and hearty meal. So we got a bunch of pretty colors. So as of right now, outside of some of the spices, all of these ingredients can be found throughout the Elder Scrolls universe. So that's kind of where the fun is in cooking on this. It's trying to create a balance between what's in a fictitious universe and what is in the real universe, and how to get that fantasy to come to life. So we're just going to keep everything going. Everything's looking really, really good. That banana bread is turning out amazingly. It's not falling in the middle. You let it cook slow and just slowly let it cool off the same way. So yeah, that looks delicious. Water break. Yeah, if you don't know, I have ADHD, so drinking water is a difficult thing. So maybe if I, for all you other ADHDers out there, when I say water break, you go take a water break too. That would be really good for all of us. So, as we're just chilling here, waiting for the last couple minutes of things to get situated. Actually, I have to go over my recipe now because I have everything I need, size-wise. So, about 2 more minutes on that, and then we'll start with the next step, which would be adding all the spices. We're going to get the spices really incorporated in there, so it's going to take like 2 or 3 minutes. We're going to add then more olive oil in it, and then we're going to incorporate that in, get the flour in, and then we're going to have to cook the flour off, which I'll explain that in a second. And then once all the mixture is kind of this dry, congealed mess, then we're going to add the milk. And that's how we're going to make this base for the chicken and biscuits. Almost done. So in this bowl here, we've got a teaspoon of each of pepper, salt, garlic, and onion powder. I tend to like the both. So we're going to put a teaspoon of each of them in here in just about a couple seconds, and then get that all incorporated in there too. So we want to have the spices kind of soften and blend in there very well. So we get those all in there. Also, I'm using coarse pepper with this. If you know that the pepper is going to kind of dissolve or get lost into the base of everything, I tend to use coarse pepper when I'm either making steak or like a base like this, so it tends to be a little more peppery. If not, you can just take some ground pepper and just get that all perfectly in there for yourself. So then by doing this, all of this is all getting incorporated together. Another minute, and then we'll add the flour, and then we'll start adding everything else. We still got to add the chicken, and then we're gonna have some frozen veg get added in here too. It's about 1 more minute of this. Okay. Slowly add the flour in. It makes it a little easier to manage when you pour a little at a time. Actually, I was supposed to add a tablespoon of oil, so we're going to move that out of the side. This is like, that's way too dry. There we go. That's looking a lot better. Then we're going to add the rest of the flour in. I just want to make sure all that flour gets cooked off. Okay. So now we're going to slowly add in 5 cups of milk. Of course. So what I like doing is just slowly adding it and keep incorporating it as we're going. And then 2 more cups. And then 1 final cup. So, our milk is in now. We're going to give it a quick little whisk, if you will, and now we're going to cook it. We're going to get to a gentle boil and cook for roughly 7 minutes or until about the recipes have. So, get going. Do this. Looks like I lost the lid, so you're just gonna have to do. So what else can we do? What else do we have to get done? We can start cutting up the chicken. We're going to have to work on that. Give me a second, make you all better. It was locked in place and then gets bumped and then, okay. We're gonna need that. Chicken. So now we have got the chicken to cut up. I'll just wash my hands. So if you wanted to kind of make this recipe a little bit in advance, you can do a large batch of chicken breast throughout the week so you can have all your chicken cooked up for whatever meals you need. So example being like if you knew you were going to have this meal and then like a chicken salad or whatever, you can cook up several chicken breasts at the same time, store them, and then just pull them out as you need them. We're going to kind of get these cubed, diced, chopped, however you want to say that. I'm not a fan of chicken, but I eat it. It's good for me. But I also have to make sure that I can't tell that it's there sometimes. Okay, now it's bubbling up the side. That's our gentle boil. Sorry, sometimes when I'm really doing quick knife work, I try not to talk, because I tend to like my fingers still staying intact. Okay. They're all nice and cubed and diced. I'm going to go wash my hands, and then we're going to check on our little mixture over here. Okay, so let's stir this up, and then we can kind of do a quick little cleaning. minutes on that. Here you go. Okay. Move that forward here because we're due. And we'll get our last 9 by 13 pan. 13 by 9, 9 by 13, it's the same difference. So, like stirring it occasionally so it doesn't scald or get burnt. A little higher. So. The waiting's the hardest part. So, this is where we're at. On this, we've got the banana bread chillin'. We're halfway through kind of making our chicken and biscuits. So, yeah, this is where we're at. Gonna get going here in a second, and a couple more minutes on our little mixture here. So, yay, right? Work this just a little bit. Pardon me, I have to go let my cat in. And you just don't want to get the milk to scald, so you want to keep stirring it, adjust your temperature. All that stuff. So while we're working on all of this amazingness right now, about 1 more minute or so on this. Is it about now? So you don't want it to be too thin. You want a nice big batter here. What I probably will do is let it go like this for another minute or so, but I'm going to start adding the chicken in. then add thyme. I love adding thyme in the food. Thyme makes it so savory, so amazing. I'm going to get that in there. And then the last step is to add 16 ounces of frozen vegetables. So take those out. So it's kind of whatever frozen vegetables you like. I'm going to just add a medley of like beans and corns and carrots and things of that nature. Get them all constituted in there. Yeah, I just need a little more of it to go down. It's still got just a little bit of thinness to it. Not much. So yeah, there we go. We're going to quickly taste it because if we need to add more salt and pepper, this is the last time to do that. Needs a little salt and pepper. Then just a pinch of salt. It doesn't need a lot. It's just missing. That all mixed in. That should do that. A spoon. See where we're at. Yeah, once that thyme cooks in there, it won't need any more pepper. I'm afraid if I put any more pepper, then it's going to get really peppery because of the thyme. So, in our 13 by 9 pan, we're going to pour this mixture all up in here. And, yeah. So, you can either scoop it in or just pour really slowly. Get all the rest of the goodnesses out. Okay. Last but not least, we're going to start dropping this in. So, let's do that. That. So what I tend to do is just kind of make a quick little ball and just they don't have to be perfect, but do your best. So then what I'm going to do is make little smaller chunks and literally just start filling in the gaps. You pretty much want all of the mixture covered. Ah! Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be looking good. So this is going to go into the oven for about 25 minutes until this whole topping is like a good golden brown. Come on. And we will see how that goes in the next 25 minutes. I'm going to go wash my hands first, though, because there's no way I can grab this tray. Okay, so 25 minutes. So we'll see what that looks like in 25 minutes. If not, we'll just kind of keep adding some increments as we're going. So, that is that. So, what else can I do? Just like this, so you guys can see the deliciousness of this. Oh, it's nice and cool now. So, let's get a piece of the banana bread all cut up so you guys can see the awesomeness and the fluffiness and the amazingness to it. So we get a little plate, a good knife. We will go from there. And there we go. Nice, delicious piece of banana bread. So, I'll show you the innards there. Totally and absolutely delicious. And of course, we gotta try it. Super soft, super fluffy, and it's not overly sweet because we did lessen and did a substitution for our sugar, but the spices that come through with the cardamom and the cinnamon are absolutely divine. So, yay. That worked out really, really well on that. So we will let that sit there still. It's amazing. So yeah, what we can do right now while we're waiting for this is kind of talk about where we're heading with this channel. So we'll do that. Just talk with you guys. Yes, you see my stove. So, hi, I'm Coley. Sometimes you'll hear me call myself by my real name, but that's okay. So, hi. So, I've always loved cooking and playing video games. Some of my fondest memories from when I was a kid. I would be at my Oma and Opa's, and my Oma would have me in the kitchen, and I'd be sitting on the counter, and we'd be making handmade raviolis to spaghetti noodles, where I'm sitting there like, I have my arms like this. I'm like, Grandma, I can't hold anymore. And she's like, okay, I'll go get the broomstick. And for the food that I'm saying that I'm making, you would assume that we're Italian, and actually we're German and Polish. So, but yeah, we would make homemade kolaczkis. And I mean, I can't remember not having, as a little kid, and of course this is a little kid viewpoint, of just these over-the-top meals that my grandma would create. Then Grandpa, he had an Intellivision. So if you guys know what that is, you're either old or awesome. Either way. But we would put this on a little TV, and we would sit there and slide these plastic little cards in so we knew what buttons we were hitting for which game. Our favorite games were Dungeons and Dragons, Burger Time, and Pitfall. We would play those like crazy. His favorite was bowling. And so you had these buttons on the side, you had this round like Joy-Con, which wasn't anything. And I just remember always being with my grandparents and cooking amazing food and playing amazing video games. So then while growing up, kind of did the same thing, just kind of kept cooking and playing video games. And now I can have a platform where these two things meld together in a very fun and exciting way. So then, so basically what we're really trying to do is make fantasy become reality and inspire you guys to either get in the kitchen or find different and new exciting ways to either cook, a technique, or maybe learning a healthy substitution, or why do people cook this way, or things of that nature. So that's kind of the goal here with that. So part of it is setting up parameters on when we're cooking. So these are all self-put parameters. So the first one is, it's what universe are we cooking in? So like today we're focusing on Elder Scrolls. So that could be ESO, Arena, Daggerfall, Legends, Morrowind, Oblivion, and Skyrim. Within reasons, we also include mods into this category because sometimes the mods actually make sense and extend the universe more than what the original game had set for us. Other times the mods are so way out there we can't justify it. So with that being said, we have the parameter of like chicken is in the game, right? So I can use chicken. But then they have skeevers, and you could have skeever meat or some other meat that I just really can't get a hold of. And so I've got to figure out a real world counterpart that makes sense. So that's kind of a fun challenge there while we're cooking with it. Two, when it comes to in-game races. So trying to find the real world counterpart and keep within that parameter as well. It's not always going to be perfect, but what we're going to try to do is keep it within the parameters. So example being, if we start with Skyrim, it's the land of the Nords. So the Nords are based on a Viking real world counterpart. So we're going to be cooking more farm rustic food, fish, and basically any of the spices and stuff came from plundering. So sometimes I might have an ingredient available, sometimes I may not. But it's within what history says that they ate, and then kind of what Skyrim has to offer. So I'll just kind of go around the map then. So the Dunmeri culture, they are more of like ancient Assyria and things of that nature. So it's going to be kind of Middle Eastern cuisine. Trying to find out how I want to do that, but that's going to be kind of the concept of where we're cooking with that. The Argonians, between their temples and the way their language is, we're going to kind of go with like the Mayan and Aztecans, but I didn't want to offend if I did any other Hispanic culture with that. So basically, I'm from the States, so anything like south of the border is kind of fair game for the Argonians. So if it's like, well, that's not, Mayan, well, I have to give myself a little leeway on things of that. So I don't want to offend, but then I want to include and just kind of create that. Elsewhere, the Khajiits. So the Khajiits I looked at, and they were kind of more like the Romani gypsies. But if you looked at how they traveled and where they were at in the world, basically they're European to India and everything in the between. So I thought kind of like the Silk Road concept, where anywhere between Asia and Europe, it's fair game, but mostly we're going to be focusing on spices. It's going to be over the top spices and cuisines of that nature. So then we have, and we just lost it. There we go. Valenwood. So that's the home of the Bosmers. So the Bosmers are going to be a little tricky, considering that they worship the god Ifrit and have the Green Pact. They're anti-vegans. You have to eat meat. You eat what you kill. It's very meaty, very carnivorous. So trying to keep it meat-based, but trying to give myself a little bit of grace. So based on the way their culture is, it's very Native American. So we're going to go with a Native American concept mixed with kind of focusing on being carnivores. We're going to stay mainland first, so we're going to loop back up into Cyrodiil, which is the Imperials. So they're very Roman Empire inspired. So part of that's going to be not thinking more modern food, it's going to think more ancient food, and it's still a European concept, but more with a Mediterranean flair. That's how I'm going to kind of keep that. Red Guards. They are Northern Africa. They're Moroccan flair, Egypt, kind of that cuisine. So I'm learning all about that, and we're going to kind of have fun with that. We still got 15 minutes on the chicken and biscuits. So, but keeping more with that culture and that flair of food. The Orsimers, the orcs. They're more of the Mongolian tribal people. So when I was viewing it, it was like they're the hunter-gatherers. So their cuisine's going to be very hunter-gatherer based. So I'm kind of going to throw some history with it, / myth and lore to go with that. So that's going to be fun that way. The Bretons, they're literally based off of people of Brittany in France. So with that being said, I'm not going to totally make it just Brittany. I'm going to make it the French, the decadent, the over-the-top, the rich food on that. So that's where we're going with the Bretons on that. Back to the Somerset Isles. They were very Oriental based. So a lot of people said Imperial Japan. Sometimes they said Imperial China. Bouncing back and forth between that, and I was like, well, I don't want to slip up and say commit to one and then be like, oh, that was actually Chinese food, not Japanese. So I said we're just going to go with the Orient flair on that. So that's the cuisine that we're going to be making with them. Then there's several other races that are around the game, and we're going to kind of explore with that if I have to make that dish. So we'll just kind of do it as is. Yeah. But then there's going to be other challenges. Some food is just been in the game forever. Or if it's like a chicken breast, how can we make it imperial chicken versus Nord chicken or something like that? So we're going to kind of do that. And our first recipe we're really going to kind of do that with is the sweet rolls. They're in every game. They're the Easter egg you're looking for. So I figured we're just going to make a base sweet roll, and then every time we focus on a culture, we're going to make a sweet roll the way that culture would make it. So it's either going to be a way over the top sweet roll, or it's going to be a basic sweet roll, or something really unique to make it stand out. So it's always going to be an ever-changing and an evolving recipe. So that's something we're going to kind of do there. Finally, the biggest thing we're going to kind of focus on with us is I like teaching. It's kind of like if I've got knowledge and I can share it with you, let's figure out how to share this and build a bigger and greater community. Don't want to, you know, offend or say something you might not agree with. So if you're like, well, I can't have salt, then don't put salt in your food. There's no harm, no foul. There's no judging. So if you're like, but I only eat this and you eat this, it's like, that's okay. We'll talk about substitutions and how to make it tweak this way and that way. Also, like I said, like earlier, you don't have to have the world's fanciest equipment to make really, really good food. So it's creating this environment of, hey, if you only have a whisk, we're going to make it with a whisk. And other times, to keep my sanity in check, we're going to bring up the KitchenAid and all the Mixmaster stuff and all the tools and gadgets that I have. So just depending on where we're going with that day. So that one side. And then two, we're always going to talk about health substitutions. We're going to talk about, you know, sometimes, well, you know, I don't want to use this product. Why do I use it? And it's like, well, this is why I use it. So whether it's, you know, like I used full-fat yogurt today, Greek yogurt, and it was just I need full fats for my brain. So it's one of those things. So we can always, in a loving and kind and compassionate way, share recipes and the concepts of why we cook with specific things. There's also people with food allergies and food sensitivities. I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to cook some of these foods because I'm allergic to a weird variety of foods. I'm allergic to fish or shellfish. And if fish are processed with it, I can't eat that fish. So that's a challenge for me on that end. I'm allergic to pork. That's going to be fun considering a good chunk of the recipes require something of pork based. Flip side of it, I'm allergic to avocados. So I can't use avocado oil. So if you see me just using olive oil again and again and again and again, it's because I can't use avocado oil. Can't use pine nuts. I can't use anything of the pine tree family. So even rosemary I can get sensitive to. So I usually don't ever cook with it. So just to let you know that there's just some things we're always trying to share with the community on things. Like sometimes I'll make a lactose-free meal. So if you're lactose intolerant, we start showing and sharing the varieties of food out there, of options. Flip side of it, if you're gluten-free, we're going to make gluten-free recipes. And there's going to be days where we're going to make vegetarian-based meals, and other times we will have vegan-based meals, just because it's a variety of food that you should eat and be allowed to eat on all different varieties of all things. So 10 more minutes on that chicken. So it's just something we're looking forward to and sharing with the community and having a big environment where we can share, have fun, talk about video games, talk about food, combine those two worlds together. So that's something I'm really excited and happy about to share with you guys. So let's still got plenty of time. So, but yeah, I just thought I'd share that with you, bring you into a little bit into my world to share with you guys in your world. So it's something really exciting and cool that we're looking to. So I figured for this year, because I don't know what I'm doing on the tech side, the internet side of things, I know what I do here on cooking, just don't know what to do there. So I was like, we'll just stick with one video game series right now. I really love the Elder Scrolls universe. It's kind of my thing. So we're going to stick with that. And if I get bored, we can always change universes. So a couple of them I have scrambled up in my brain because I want to stick with the Elder Scrolls, Final Fantasy, Harvest Moon. As you can tell, I play video games all over the place. So yeah, they're either simplistic to insane. I got a couple other friends that play video games, so I was like, hey, what does your... And I kind of like looking at the whole universe, too. I don't like just like a one-and-done game. So, example being, my son plays Dark Souls like crazy and anything from Software. So I was like, what food is in that universe? And then he giggled, and there really isn't food. There is some, but not. So we'll work with that and have some fun and, you know, things of that. But once I said, I have to research the parameters of their universe and then extend it into our universe and our reality. So with that, I think that's going to be a fun challenge, and it's to explore different food, different varieties of cooking styles. So right now for my first month, I'm just kind of doing the base recipes, something simple, something universal within that universe. So didn't want to get too pigeonholed, the first month. So we're having fun with that. We got a couple more minutes. It's going to get out of the oven soon. Get really excited about all that. So having a lot of fun with trying to create and figure out things so we can have all this fun and go on these epic journeys of cooking and using different tools and different ingredients and different varieties of doing a lot of things. So I know some of you might get upset that I'm either being too health conscious or not enough health conscious, if that's such a thing. My thing is this one, I have to stay within my budget. So if you're like, oh, you should get the hyper organic, super rare and expensive stuff, it's not going to happen because I have a budget that I've parametered myself in. Flip side of it, it's am I ever going to make like $5 meals, $5, $10, $20 meals? No, because I also believe in specific standards of qualities of ingredients and health benefits from them too. Also, the recipes I'm cooking aren't just like a one-person meal. I try to make them divisible by weird numbers, if that makes sense. So I have a household of 3. So what I usually like doing is I like making sure that we all have dinner and lunch the next day. Sometimes it stretches a little more than that. Sometimes not as much, but that's okay. That's where we kind of want to balance this parameter. So I always cook for like a family of 4 then, in all reality. So it's 4 to 8 servings of that food. So, if you're a single person, you might want to lower them, or you'll be eating the same meal all week, which isn't a bad thing either because you don't have to think about cooking. Or if you're a family of like 6, well, basically you're all getting dinner that night. So it's a combination of things of that way where I'm trying to take into account of, can one person easily have this recipe, to, in a family of 6 or 8, stretch it even farther. So it's just that blend of things that I'm always trying to keep in mind when I'm cooking too. So I like cooking where we get to eat and we have lunch the next day. So it makes things a little easier on my end to make things and all that stuff. Five more minutes. And it sounds high. So let me see. It is boiling over. So that'll be something I get to clean up tonight is my oven. So I knew I should have put a tray under it and I didn't. Lessons learned. So that's also part of our journey too, where like in a video game, you get to learn from your mistakes and reset and try again. So that's something that I'm always encouraged about with cooking. It's okay, you might make a failed recipe. And that's okay. Or you might make a recipe, follow it along, make it perfectly, but it's not your cup of tea. Kind of just like video games you play, there's people that love Dark Souls. If I were to play Dark Souls, I would probably have a heart attack from anxiety. I don't need skeletons killing me. I don't like low-level things killing me right when I walk out the door. Where I kind of like Skyrim, where I'm like, okay, well, set the difficulty high. I'm no longer enjoying this. Difficulty can go back down. I like having my anxiety managed, and that's the fun part about cooking. You can try it, and if you don't like it, it didn't, or hey, I can challenge myself to make a different ingredient, or I can swap this out, or it's a very creative way of having good food and good fun, So this is going to be a lot of fun. So I hope you guys can stay and enjoy all the recipes we have looking forward and all the adventures we're going to have. So 3 more minutes. I'm going to double check because that was already looking golden brown when I looked. Okay. When I open the oven, it's going to be smoking because there's stuff on the bottom, so don't freak out that my kitchen's on fire. I've only done that once, and I have some witnesses for it, and I didn't catch the whole thing on fire. It was just a paper towel. Ooh. It's got the 2 more minutes. It's like the golden brown and then it's still a little not. So it'll need the 2 minutes. But other than that, yeah. So I really hope you guys can stay and have fun with us and come along on all of these wonderful adventures that we're planning on having in this kitchen. So 2 more minutes. ADHD time. Water break. Yeah. So I hope that helps all you ADHD people out there that forget to drink water. Like me. So, but hopefully in the future, while I'm cooking, we can talk about video game stuff and not just some Dead Space and all that stuff. So, yes, I know. I know. It's fine. About 40 more seconds. And then we'll have a very delicious thing coming out. So, and yes, I know you're smoking, but it's fine. I'll clean you up later. See, just because I've been cooking like my whole life doesn't mean I still got it down pat. So don't be scared. It's fine. It's managed. 1, and we're going to turn everything off. You guys ready to see this? There we go. It looks very bland. That's okay. I will scoop some out here in a second. Lift it so you guys can see that a little bit better. But yeah, nice and toasty and hot. So we will get our little dish, scoop some out, see what we got. Oh, this is wonderful. Some of that base goodness there. And it's really hot. So, oh, that's perfectly like soft and all that jazz. It's really hot. I don't know if you guys can see the steam coming off of that. Get a mushroom in there. Because if I can eat the things I don't like, we're doing good. Okay. I don't like chickens or mushrooms. This is really, really good. So, with that, I hope you guys enjoy the recipes and the meals. I hope you guys can have adventures in your kitchen. I wish you could be enjoying this food with me right now. Oh my goodness. So yeah, I hope you guys can really enjoy getting into your kitchen, discovering all your stuff, having fun with us on this journey, doing all these amazing things. And don't forget to stay legendary. Hope to guys see you soon. Bye.